Lakers fans hate the Nuggets the same way that it appears Kendrick Lamar hates Drake, and I can't blame either.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube. Here's Theo Dorsey.
Wowee, what a Tuesday evening here on Theoretically Speaking. I'm Theo Dorsey. We got C-Cat on the ones and twos, and we got an NBA postseason that's going to be out without LeBron James, without Stephen Curry, without Kevin Durant going into the second round. And on a day like today where we have everybody discussing the future of LeBron James, is he going to remain a Laker? Is he going to team up with his son? Apparently, are the Lakers going to trade him? I mean, there's so many things going on around that. I specifically want to just get back to what happened. What got us here? How did we get here again? And it happened because of Game 5 of Round 1, Lakers versus Nuggets. And I could use all of these like flowery words. I could use all these great descriptors to illuminate what happened last night, Lakers Nuggets at the end of the game. But how about I just pitch back to Anthony Davis from about a week ago when he summed it up best?
Jamal Murray made a shot.
C-Cat, when I told you Anthony Davis giving us that Jamal Murray made a shot drop at the end of what was the game winner in the first game against the Lakers, that the Nuggets will be able to run that back. They'll be able to use that down the line because Jamal Murray is going to make more clutch shots. I didn't think it was going to happen just 4 games later in the same series, man. This is incredible stuff.
Yeah, Jamal Murray exclusively makes postseason shots. That's all he does.
That's all he does. And here it is, the call from last night. Jamal Murray sinking a game-winning shot, a two-pointer, a mid-range jumper as the Nuggets lift over the Lakers 108-106, bouncing LeBron James from the playoffs for the second straight year.
Worst case scenario, we're going to overtime.
Jokic a screen, Murray to try to break the tie.
No timeout by the Lakers. They got to go.
James, a bump, a feed, a print shot. No! Zero's on the clock. The Nuggets advance. They have won. And the defense of their championship title is alive and well.
That's Kevin Harlan on the call with Reggie Miller and C-Cat. That, what you just heard was, I mean, we had all this rain out here in Palm Beach County in the Treasure Coast today. Like, I was confused really this morning. I'm like, is that rain or is that the tears of the many Lakers fans who are now mourning another playoff exit at the hands of those guys, of the Denver Nuggets? And it also might even be the tears of the NBA league office and other people that are in bed with the NBA when it comes to marketing and getting eyes on the league, that now we have to go into the second round of the playoffs without LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, without Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, without Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors. This is uncharted territory for the NBA. It's the first time since 2005 that those three characters, those three fixtures in the league, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant, will not be playing in round 2 of the NBA playoffs. And must I say here, I mean, theoretically speaking, this is good for the NBA. It's good. It's a tester. It's a sampling of what you have outside of those guys that make us so lazy because all we have to do is just turn on the television and just say the name LeBron James, and everybody is going to be clicking and watching and trying to figure it out. I mean, you could debate anything about LeBron James, nonsensical stuff. You can talk anything about a guy like Kevin Durant, who is one of the most prolific scorers, but it's really the off-the-court stuff, him being melodramatic, him being a guy that is super sensitive, that gets the clicks going, that gets people invested in the story that is Kevin Durant. And with Stephen Curry, the way that he changed the game of basketball and on his upward tick in the NBA, everybody's debating left and right. Can you be that small? Can you shoot that many threes and win basketball games? And, well, he proved that, yes, you can. Another person that proved you can be small and win basketball games.
Jamal Murray made a shot.
I had to. Man, the Nuggets have to just stir up so much hate in the Lakers fans' hearts. But beyond that, we'll get back to that. I want to get to this right now. The NBA playoffs, round 2 of the NBA playoffs, are going to be better off, and really the rest of this postseason are going to be better off without LeBron James and the Lakers, and even without Steph Curry and KD in them. And the reason being is you get to finally get a taster. You get to finally see what this league is going to be like in the years after him, because I am the furthest thing from a LeBron James hater. All hail the king. I'm grateful to be in this generation, to be able to say I watched LeBron James grow up in his years. I watched him come through the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2003, where there was so much expectation on what he could do. I watched 2007 when he got past the Pistons and into the finals in that historic 25 points in a row game against the bad boy Pistons. Not really the bad boys, but the Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton Pistons. I watched him come to South Florida, come to South Beach with his talents and win a championship with the Miami Heat, learn to become a champion. And now we're watching him in the twilight of his career where he's still putting up 27, 8-8. He still is averaging like a first-team All-NBA player on a daily basis. And he also still has his team right in the center of whether or not they're going to be contending. Like, we still talk about LeBron James in this way in year 39 of his career, or year 39 of his age, but year 21 of his career, in a way that we weren't able to talk about some of the other legends on their way out of the door. So I want to be grateful in this moment, but I also want to be even more grateful and talk about the new guys on the list. Yesterday, we talked specifically about Anthony Edwards and how much of a meteoric rise he's having in the NBA today. And it's funny, I just stumbled upon this tweet. From the NBA communications, and they pretty much agree with what I was saying yesterday about how Anthony Edwards is evolving into a guy that can be the face of the league. Now he'll have his chance. We're going to get Timberwolves Nuggets in round 2. We're going to see Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns go up against the defending champion Nuggets that just made us suffer the fate of going on with a postseason without LeBron James. And that's going to be a great opportunity for him. I can't wait to see what the Timberwolves are able to do in that one. But the NBA tweets out, Anthony Edwards has generated more than 100 million video views across NBA social media. And since the start of the playoffs, he's second among all players, just trailing LeBron James in views. He also actually gained the most followers throughout this postseason. So the rise of Anthony Edwards, Ant Jordan as we call him here, is inevitable. It's happening. But it's specifically going to be able to happen even more because we're going to be able to all collectively take a breath and say, you know what? LeBron James, Steph Curry, KD, great job. Y'all have done masterful in carrying the league and carrying the torch, and also carrying a lot of the headlines and the talk shows. I mean, just listen to this from Unsportsmanlike, what you hear on ESPN 106.3 this every morning on weekdays, 6 to 10 a.m. Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canty. Listen to Evan Cohen and Chris Canty going back and forth on whether or not the Lakers should actually trade the king and LeBron James.
If somebody calls them and they want to say, what would it take to actually trade for LeBron James? I think the Lakers have to listen.
You're not trading LeBron James. You're the Los Angeles Lakers. You're a destination for stars. You don't become that by treating stars that way, especially LeBron James, the second greatest player in NBA history. It's not going to happen.
They have to consider it.
That's not a consideration.
Well,
that is not. If LeBron James is not with the Los Angeles Lakers next year, it's because he doesn't want to be, and he's making that choice.
LeBron James is the master of his fate, the captain of his own soul. He decides everything that goes on in and around either himself and his career, but also, I mean, he's like a puppet master with a lot of the things that happen in the league, thanks to the agency that he has as well with Rich Paul, and thanks to his ability to be able to leverage, to create so much leverage, not just for himself, but for teammates and other people. But what the Denver Nuggets did was put him out of the playoffs and put us into a tailspin of trying to figure out what's next for LeBron James. And he's such a master at actually being a guy who's not going to give you everything, right? Like, he's not – a couple years ago in 2022, he told us, I want to go off into the twilight of my career. My last year, I want to play with my son, Bronny James. And, of course, Bronny James entered the draft back in April, so now that's more and more of an option. But, again, Now he's walking a lot of that back. LeBron James continuing to build leverage on one side while also remaining relevant and excellent on the court. We need to sit back and appreciate that, but also appreciate the times that we're in with the NBA right now in a post-LeBron, Steph, and KD sense. Now, I didn't know if I would get this right. I don't know if I have the pulse on most fans. There's a lot of casual fans of the NBA, especially in this market, especially out here in West Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast. But I want to send out a poll. And we sent out a poll on the ESPN West Palm Twitter account on whether or not people would be moved by LeBron James not being in the playoffs anymore, whether or not people would be moved by Curry and KD no longer playing pivotal postseason games. And CCAT, I think you would be surprised to know it didn't really move the needle. So the question was, are you more or less interested in the NBA playoffs with no LeBron James, no Steph Curry, and no Kevin Durant? There were three options. You could put more interested, less interested, or unmoved. If you had to guess, one of the options has 50% of the vote, CCAT. If you had to guess which one of those three, more interested, less interested, or unmoved, was clicked the most, which would you go with?
I would say less interested. That's what most people selected.
You're wrong.
Whoa.
I don't have the wrong answer buzzer thing. We're only on episode 17 of Theoretically Speaking here, but do we have one over there queued up? Can we punch one? Nice. Nice.
There we go.
As we still find our way on Theoretically Speaking, again, we're always here with you 5 to 6 p.m. Myself, Theo Dorsey, and CCAT. We're going to figure out those little kinks, work out those little segment parts. But more specifically, you were wrong. And not only were you wrong, you were dead wrong. Less interested was 12% of the vote. More interested was 38% of the vote. And at 50%, people are absolutely unmoved by the fact that we're moving on in the NBA postseason without LeBron James, without Stephen Curry, and without Kevin Durant. So really, people are thankful. They're grateful for the Denver Nuggets for putting LeBron and the squad out of their misery. They're grateful that Anthony Edwards stepped on the necks of the Phoenix Suns and moved forward. And to be honest with you, C-Cat, that is the way that you should feel as an NBA fan today. Because now, instead of leading off our show debating whether or not the Lakers should trade LeBron James, which is really an unthinkable thought, we could talk about the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder, who completed the sweep of the Pelicans, actually looked like an up and rising team with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We can talk about Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, and I know there's a lot of debate right now about whether or not Jamal Murray is going to be a guy that can be in the Hall of Fame one day. Well, I mean, if you ask Anthony Davis,
Jamal Murray made a shot.
Couple more of those, I don't think that's going to be up for debate anymore. The Denver Nuggets, the run that they're on and their chase for a repeat right now with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, that's the kind of stuff you can now cling on to. If you look in the East, and I think one of the biggest problems right now is LeBron and Steph and KD, they give you something to hate. They give you some vitriol. There's a lot of negative emotion around those folks, just as much as there is support. And I can't really see anybody hating Nikola Jokic. Like I always say with his game, he's like if artificial intelligence created a basketball player, that's Nikola Jokic. Like he's just making the right plays. He's really mundane. He doesn't care about hoops. He cares more about horses than hoops. Which, if that's his thing, I can't blame him. But the dude is damn good at basketball. He just doesn't move people left or right. Anthony Edwards right now, his Q rating is way too high for the headlines about Anthony Edwards to really make people kind of be super engaged. Like everybody likes Ant-Man. Everybody likes Ant-Man. And then if you look over on the other side, there's teams you can hate, but not players that move the needle that much. The New York Knicks are being led by Jalen Brunson. What are you saying about him? He's too small? Right? Like he's still going to drop 47 on your head. And I do think that the Knicks are going to bounce the Sixers tonight at Madison Square Garden. That's going to be the tip-off game for the TNT coverage tonight, 7 o'clock tip. I do think he finishes the job there. But again, doesn't move the needle. The Boston Celtics, everybody can rally around not really liking that much. But again, you kind of hate the city. You might hate the franchise. Jason Tatum, he's not even doing enough in the big moments for you to feel some type of way. Even though me personally as a Heat fan, I'm glad that LeBron James got bounced last night because I don't have to talk as much about the Miami Heat. I'll give my take on what happened last night and what's moving forward, including the shell of a roster that the Heat will be left with in Game 5 trying to stave off elimination. But I'm glad LeBron gave me a gift right underneath my tree, and I'll take it. We don't have to talk Heat just yet. And then again, you got a team like the Bucks with no Giannis. You got the Pacers. Like, nothing is really moving the needle. It's not a bad thing to not have something to hate, but in a post-LeBron postseason this year, I think that is going to be what we're going to learn the most about each other. How much can you be glued to the action? How much can we create new storylines and also burgeon up new stars in an NBA that is a little bit vacant of it once we do see LeBron James, KD, and Steph leave for good? The good thing is this is just a temporary absence for LeBron James, right? This is an area of opportunity. Stop being so lazy and let's get up off your high horse and figure out how to either promote or fall in love with the games of these new guys. But the bad thing is also, as Anthony Davis put it,
Jamal Murray made a shot.
And that shot ended the Los Angeles Lakers and has their fans, even their mayor, everybody around the city of L.A. with a lot of vitriol towards that Canadian. And I'm not talking about the Kendrick and Drake beef, which, again, I don't know, C-Cat. Did you hear any of that? Did you hear euphoria from Kendrick Lamar, the response? It finally happened today?
Nah, man, I'm getting it from you first.
Man.
Is big news?
Yeah, this is huge news. I wish, and I know we're going to have Uncle Steve in here soon. We're going to have Uncle Steve pull up, and maybe we can ask him about this. I don't have anybody around the office right now that's as locked into maybe the greatest rap beef of my time, where we have Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole going at it, and he apologized a couple weeks ago, so he's out of the beef. But now Kendrick Lamar finally responded after days and days and days of us waiting, and it was amazing. And he took shots at Drake's masculinity. He took shots at Drake's fatherhood. He took shots at his blackness. I mean, he really came at this dude in a way where you could never be friends again. It was epic. I was in the gym when this thing dropped, C-Cat, and I literally put my weights down to listen to it. It was that much of a big deal for me.
That's incredible.
When Kendrick dropped Euphoria, I felt euphoric before I even pressed play. And then I listened to those next 6 minutes, and I'm wondering if Drake has anything to say for it, because it got ugly. But I won't get into that. I won't get into the rap beef. This is more about the Lakers fans' beef with the Nuggets, and also what are we to do now in the NBA? No LeBron, no KD, no Steph for the first time since 2005 in the second round. And also there's a piece of audio. We're all trying to debate and figure out what's going to happen next with LeBron James. There's one specific piece of audio that I heard from somebody who has his finger on the pulse of the NBA, and specifically LeBron James, more than anybody else, that convinces me not only is LeBron going to be back in a Lakers uniform next year, he's also going to be back in a Lakers uniform, and he won't be the only one wearing a jersey that says James on the back. I think you know what I'm getting at there. But we're going to bring in Uncle Steve Pollett Sr. when we come back here. Before we do, though, I do want to tell you all about Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Because if you're 39 years old like LeBron James and you're still doing it at that level, guess what? You're going to feel some aches. You're going to feel some soreness. And if you're experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field, Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit BaptistHealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit BaptistHealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting BaptistHealth.net/ortho. Steve Pollett Sr. is actually in the building, the first in-person Uncle Steve when we come back. And yes, maybe I'll get his thoughts on Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. That's C-Cat. I'm Theo. We're Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3.